Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, Mike Lindell sent me a note yesterday. He has a special for the 6-piece towel set, $25 when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. You'll get the $25 offer on the 6-piece towel set, and I promise you, these will be the most comfortable, the most absorbent towels that you own. mypillow.com, use promo code Joey, get the 6-piece towel set for just $25. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Barrow County, Georgia, Sheriff Judd Smith said the deadly Georgia school shooting that left 4 dead was an act of pure evil. We have the latest details of this tragic incident yesterday at Apalachee High School. Also, local reporters in Pennsylvania revealed how reporters were not allowed to ask Minnesota Governor Tim Walz questions during a campaign event in Lancaster County yesterday. President Donald Trump sat down with Sean Hannity last night on Fox News. We have those highlights for you as well. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham issued a storm warning to Amazon after its virtual assistant technology known as Alexa was found to be politically biased in favor of Vice President Kamala Harris over President Donald Trump. We have the details on that as well. An image circulating online shows family members of vice presidential candidate Minnesota Governor Tim Walz openly supporting former President Donald Trump. And here in South Carolina, Attorney General Alan Wilson has filed a friend of the court brief in a case involving a local school district near Columbus, Ohio, and the use of preferred pronouns among students.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
Sadly, tragedy struck a Georgia high school yesterday, leaving 4 dead, 2 students and 2 teachers, along with at least 9 injured. A Georgia sheriff called it an act of pure evil. Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith addressed reporters hours after a gunman opened fire at Apalachee High School, saying he never imagined he would be speaking to the media about a school shooting in his county.
We're standing on the campus of Apalachee High School here at Barrow County Schools. First and foremost, I want to lift up our community. I want to give our sympathies to our community, our school system, our kids, our parents that had to witness this today. Obviously, what you see behind us is an evil thing today. At about 9:30 this morning, we received the first call that there was an active shooter on this campus. We're not releasing any information as far as injuries, but we have multiple injuries. This is a very, very fluid investigation. It's very early. And I have asked the assistance of the GBI and the agencies here behind me today, and there are multiple agencies that responded this morning to help us and help the sheriff's office. We do have a suspect in custody, and we are asking for your patience as the media to please let us get the facts that we need to make sure we get this right. Again, I've asked the GBI to help us, the sheriff's office, to help us along with this. I know this is not what you want to hear, but I'm not going to answer questions after this is over with. But I wanted to give you the respect and our community the respect to let them know what was going on initially. We're in the process of reunifying our students with their parents. Obviously that's chaotic, but we want to be respectful of them and their privacy as well. I want to thank the state, the federal agencies, the local agencies that showed up today. As you can see, the multiple EMS and fire from other agencies that responded today. Again, I ask that you lift up Barrow County Schools, lift up Apalachee, lift up our agencies. This is going to take multiple days for us to get answers as to what happened and why this happened.
So here's what we know so far. Colt Gray, a 14-year-old student at the high school, was identified yesterday as the shooter. A school resource officer was able to get Gray to surrender moments after opening fire, saving many other lives, most likely. The teen was then taken into custody. Investigators were not sure how this young man brought the weapon on campus and how he obtained it. He was interviewed by authorities. That's all the details we have so far on him and his what was motivating him. Investigators are still trying to determine if anyone was specifically targeted, but they were not aware of any known connections between the shooter and any of the victims. Chris Hosey, the director of Georgia Bureau of Investigation, said authorities were, quote, looking into every aspect of that individual, his connections here at the school, and any friendships that might have been involved. The Barrow County school system will close all of its schools for the remainder of the week. Dallas LaDuff, the county superintendent, said the schools will be closed while the district cooperates fully with law enforcement and that grief counseling would be available. Apalachee High School is located about 40 miles northeast of Atlanta. President Biden was briefed on the shooting, we're told, which began yesterday morning. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is working with local authorities as they investigate. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation has denied allegations that another student at Apalachee High School was involved in this devastating student. Rumors on social media speculated that another 14-year-old student whose name was publicized was involved in the shooting, but the GBI said yesterday afternoon that those reports are in fact false. So far, the 14-year-old has been identified as the only suspect, and he is a student at the high school and will be charged with murder and prosecuted as an adult, according to the sheriff. Local law enforcement is coordinating with both the investigation and charges with District Attorney Brad Smith of the Piedmont Judicial Circuit there in Georgia. A vigil was held last night to remember the 4 people who lost their lives. The city of Winder held the event at Jug Tavern Park there in Winder, Georgia, a small town just above Atlanta. And again, this could have had a very different outcome, as authorities told the story of how this school resource officer engaged this young man, and evidently the young man realized that one of two things was going to happen. If he tried to continue, he was going to lose his life, or he could turn himself in, which is what he chose to do. House Speaker Mike Johnson released a statement about the shooting on X yesterday, as many others did as well. As you can imagine, it has reignited the debate on gun control and the Biden-Harris's efforts to take guns away from law-abiding citizens. That was the response from Joe Biden yesterday. A similar response from Kamala Harris, saying that these types of events need to be stopped and suggesting that the only way to stop them would be further gun control. Now, we all know that this young man, obviously, as things will unfold, we'll find out what issues he may have had. No type of gun control or restrictions on you and me buying guns would have prevented yesterday. We're probably going to find out that the gun was legal. He probably took the gun from his parents. And the only way that you would have prevented that would have been if there are no guns in our country at all. And we all know that is not possible. That is not realistic. Former President Donald Trump addressed the shooting in a social media post yesterday using his Truth Social platform to express his condolences to Winder, Georgia. He also mentioned this last night in talking with Sean Hannity on Fox News, and we have those highlights for you coming up soon. On Truth Social, he said, "Our hearts are with the victims and loved ones of those affected by the tragic event in Winder, Georgia. These cherished children were taken from us far too soon by a sick and deranged monster." A lot of people responding yesterday. Gwendolyn Cook, a grandmother of 3 children at Apalachee High School, was interviewed by Fox News host John Roberts and Sandra Smith in the wake of the deadly shooting. Cook described the chaos that she witnessed after the gunman opened fire, and as she was texted by one of her grandchildren, and she headed to the school.
Well, when I arrived on the scene, I just seen a lot of parents just really panicking. They was running, they was crying, they was screaming, because, stuff like that don't happen in this area. So it was very different for a lot of us. Okay, she texted me and told me that, she says, "Mom, we on a serious lockdown." And I said, "What's going on?" She said, "We just heard gunshots right outside of our classroom." So their teacher went and locked the door, and they were screaming and hollering and crying and everything in the classroom. And she told me that she went and hid behind the teacher's desk, but the kids were like all over the place in the classroom. But I do thank the teacher for actually locking the door.
And yes, some very brave teachers probably saved other students as well. As you can imagine, there was mass chaos as this unfolded. Other students described how they responded to a very scary situation as well.
I heard gunshots, and then my teacher told us to get in the corner. I heard like screaming and police officers like get down.
My daughter called me at work screaming that there was a shooter at Apalachee. He was with the principal, and the principal told him, run to the band room, don't look back, just keep running.
I know my teacher, I know he got shot. I know one of my friends' got shot in the leg. It was, I don't know everyone, but I know some people that were shot.
I can only imagine, because they do drills for these type of things. You know, they do the preventative measures for these type of things. So to actually be in it here now is just so surreal.
I felt scared because that's when I actually realized it's real, that it's actually happening here. I never thought it would happen in the school.
Really crazy, you just never know what's gonna happen.
What was going through your head when all that happened?
I thought I was gonna die, and I was gonna go to the bathroom right before it happened, and I'm so glad I didn't, because I would probably be dead right now if I did.
I feel really sorry for the kids that they've had to experience this, and the parents who got those phone calls that it was their child, just to start praying for all the kids.
Courtesy of the local NBC affiliate, Alive TV News. And yes, we all need to pray for everyone in Winder, Georgia. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. PhD Weight Loss wants you to know, yes, you can. You can get back to your ideal healthy weight. Yes, you can get back into sizes you thought you'd never see again. And yes, you can get rid of that harmful belly fat, all without becoming dependent on medication loaded with side effects. Hi, it's Joey Hudson here. PhD Weight Loss encourages and equips you to lose weight the healthy, natural way and keep it all for the rest of your life. Dr. Ashley Lucas, a licensed registered nutritionist, developed a solid plan that works. Trust me, I lost 30 pounds. You see, PhD Weight Loss removes the guesswork. They literally tell you exactly what to eat each day while you watch the pounds melt away. But they also teach you to think about food differently and to learn to anticipate and navigate situations that make you want to indulge. PhD coaches will teach you to believe finally that yes, you can do it. With no gimmicks or lifelong medications, finally lose the weight and keep it off. Yes, you can. Call today. PhD Weight Loss, 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. One final update before we move on from the tragic shooting in Georgia yesterday. The FBI admitted yesterday, late afternoon, early evening, that last year they had received tips about the suspect who opened fire yesterday. Authorities arrested the 14-year-old male suspect after 4 were killed. 9 others were wounded. The FBI's Atlanta field office, after inquiries were made, confirmed in a statement that in May of 2023, quote, the FBI's National Threat Operations Center received several anonymous tips about online threats to commit a school shooting at an unidentified location and time. They went on to say the online threats contained photographs of guns, and within 24 hours, the FBI determined the online post originated in Georgia, and the FBI's Atlanta field office referred the information to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office for action. Now, we're told that at the time they questioned a 13-year-old male, interviewed him and his father. The father stated that he had hunting guns in the house, but the subject did not have unsupervised access to them. The subject denied making the threats online. Jackson County alerted local schools for continued monitoring of the subject. The FBI said that there was no probable cause at the time to make an arrest, and no additional law enforcement action could be taken by authorities. The FBI, in a follow-up statement last night, to confirm the subject referred to as the 13-year-old is the same subject in custody related to today's shooting in Apalachee High School. So the school said that they had received threatening phone calls earlier today, warning that the school would be the first target in a string of shootings aimed at 5 different schools. State law enforcement officials said there were no shootings at the other schools, thank goodness. So just wanted to update you on that and make that clear, that this young man had been questioned last year. We still don't know what his motive was or what motivated him. An image circulating online shows the family members of vice presidential candidate Minnesota Governor Tim Walz openly supporting former President Trump. Have you seen this? It's circulating social media like crazy. It's the photo of former Nebraska Republican gubernatorial candidate Charles Herbster. It shows 8 people wearing Nebraska Walz for Trump T-shirts. Herbster wrote on X, Tim Walz's family back in Nebraska wants you to know something. A representative for Herbster told Fox News that the people in the photo are related to Walz through his grandfather's brother, Francis Walz. Family members told Fox News they consider themselves distant from Walz and have never met or spoken with him about being the vice presidential candidate. In fact, several family members expressed concern that they learned about it on radio and in the news like everybody else. Trump replied on Truth Social to the image, implying that he plans to meet with Jeff Walz, the older brother of the Minnesota governor. The older Walz posted a series of statements last week about his Democrat brother, vice presidential nominee. Jeff Walz posted in one Facebook message, I'm 100% opposed to all his ideology. My family wasn't given any notice that he was selected and denied security the days after. One supporter messaged or wrote a note on Facebook saying, help MAGA get on stage with President Trump and endorse him, help save this country. The governor's brother said, I've thought hard about doing something like that. I'm torn between that and just keeping my family out of it. Governor Walz has 3 siblings, Jeff Walz, the man I just mentioned, Craig Walz, and Sandy Dietrich. Jeff moved to the East Coast after growing up in Nebraska. He now lives in Florida. He also posted about how he found out that his brother was chosen as vice president, Kamala Harris's running mate, saying, the only thing I took exception to, and I will stand behind this 100%, was that we felt bad that we found out about this being about him being picked as a vice presidential candidate from the radio. And we felt like we should have probably been given a heads up and some type of security, at least for a short time, because I guess that's a big thing. Meanwhile, Governor Walz is getting a taste of what a national campaign's like, and evidently the pressure is getting to him a bit. A local Pennsylvania journalist revealed how reporters were not allowed to ask Minnesota Governor Tim Walz questions during a campaign event in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania yesterday. The vice president's running mate stopped by Lancaster County at the Democrat committee field office with his daughter yesterday as part of an ongoing campaign effort in the state of Pennsylvania. While Walz spoke with volunteers at the office, WPMT Fox 43 reporter Alyssa Kratz wrote on a Facebook post how the campaign would not let her speak with the governor. She wrote, Governor Tim Walz speaking to people calling into Lancaster County Democrat committee field office. His daughter Hope is with him. Spoke to supporters here for about 6 or 7 minutes. Walz is not taking questions from the media while here. We were also not allowed to put microphones up for Governor Walz while he was speaking. Now, she added, one reporter tried shouting a question and we were told not to disrupt the program. Other reporters said they were given specific instructions not to try to speak to Governor Tim Walz. Fox 43 later confirmed to Fox News Digital with the further comments from Kratz that reporters were denied access to Walz. They said, we asked as a group multiple times if Governor Walz could speak by the podium and we could put our microphones on the podium, and we were denied, they said. She continued, a reporter from the local NBC affiliate, WGAL, shouted out a question after Governor Walz was finished speaking to volunteers, and we were told by the campaign to not disturb the interactions between Governor Walz and the volunteers. Look, they are running this campaign just like Joe Biden has run his campaign and like he did in 2020. They are going to deny access to the media. Nothing's going to change. They're going to try to run out the clock and make it to November the 5th with very little interaction because that is a safe space for them. They do not want to be questioned on what they plan to do if they're elected. Kamala Harris, Tim Walz does not want to be questioned about any policy issues. They don't want to put themselves in a situation to be asked something that they don't know the answer for, because neither one of them are very good when it comes to off-the-cuff speaking. I'm not so sure that Governor Walz is not worse than Kamala Harris. Now, he doesn't necessarily give some of the word salads like Kamala Harris does. But still, he's kind of a goofy guy, isn't he? Have you noticed that? Have you noticed some of his interactions when he does or when he has interacted with the media and other people? It's like he's awkward and he doesn't quite know how to respond in certain situations. I'm sure Kamala Harris has picked up on that by now. And that's the odd thing about being thrown into a campaign this quickly. She probably did not have enough chance to see how he interacts in public until it's too late. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Email's always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they're proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself, if you're looking for a new appliance, to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. Appearing with Sean Hannity last night in a town hall forum, former President Donald Trump promised to heal the world in wake of yesterday's school shooting in Georgia in the small town of Winder.
I mentioned we had this terrible shooting in Georgia. Right. Our prayers are with our friends in Georgia. And I've been doing town halls and interviews in public with you for all these years since you got into the political arena. And I told this audience, never before have restrictions been so tight, obviously after the assassination attempt as well. And Director Ray said the threat level has never been this bad. He said it 5 consecutive times before Congress. What is going on?
Well, it's a sick and angry world for a lot of reasons. And we're going to make it better. We're going to heal our world. We're going to get rid of all these wars that are starting all over the place because of incompetent American leadership. And we're going to make it better. You know, Viktor Orban made a statement. They said, bring Trump back and we won't have any problems. We were very strong about that. So we're going to hopefully do very well. We have an election coming up. And actually, you know, they keep saying 60, but it starts in Delaware and North Carolina and other places a lot sooner than that. So we're going to be, I think we're going to be very well set up to do a great job. And do we love Pennsylvania? Do we love it?
During the forum, Hannity hit on all the issues, of course. And you need to make note that Donald Trump sat there, and yes, Sean Hannity is a friendly reporter or talk show host or TV host, whatever you want to call him. He's a friendly with Donald Trump. He's interviewed Donald Trump many times in the past. But still, Trump sat there and took any question Hannity asked. He took questions from the group of people in this town hall forum as well. Of course, last night was supposed to have been the first debate between Trump and Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris refused to do so. She will not appear on Fox. And the original proposal for debates would have had Trump and Kamala Harris squaring off on the Fox News network last night. Instead, Trump spent the time with Sean Hannity. They talked about many of the issues, including fracking, which is important to the people of Pennsylvania where the forum was held. The question started with a video of Kamala Harris at a recent forum where she allowed a voter to ask her about her stance on fracking, which has changed a few times, by the way. And then Hannity allowed President Trump to speak on the issue of fracking and what it means to the nation, and specifically what it means for the people in Pennsylvania there last night.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah.
So would you ban offshore drilling?
Yes. And I've, again, worked on that.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you're a better businessman than I am. Isn't energy, fracking, oil the lifeblood of the world's economy?
So the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania cannot even take a chance, because that's the real opinion from her. Now, the whole country would go down the tubes if you didn't do the fossil fuel thing. It just would go. And you can do all sorts of other things. But, you know, Germany tried it, and it lasted for about 9 months, and they were going to go down the tubes entirely. And somebody else came in, and I hate to say, they're building a coal plant every single week, and they're building nuclear, and they're doing a lot of things. It's never worked. It never will work. But Pennsylvania can't take a chance that that answer is true. But she's been there for 20 years. That's what she's been saying for a long time. And she will do that. There's no chance that she's going to allow it. The election will take place. If she won, you're not going to have any fracking in Pennsylvania. You have 500,000 jobs. Think of that. It's your biggest business. And you get a big majority of your income from fracking. And you have somebody that's not going to allow fracking. She's not going to allow it. You can't take the chance. You have no choice. You've got to vote for me. You've got to vote for me. You got to.
And he's right. Look, none of us have the option. We all have to vote for Donald Trump for the sake of the country. He said that he was honored to be endorsed by Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, his brother, and other family members. We spoke about that earlier, where the Walz family in Nebraska, a social media post is making its way around the internet showing the Walz family with these blue Donald Trump T-shirts on, expressing their support of the former president. He said, "I was so honored today. His brother endorsed me and his whole family." Speaking of Walz's family, he said, "Let me tell you, there's something weird with that guy. JD is not weird." Now, you know, this is a turn of the word, because Walz is the first one who started talking about how JD Vance is weird and that Trump is weird. Well, that's weird when half your family doesn't support you. And they made it very clear, by the way, that they would, under no circumstances, support their family member, Tim Walz, that ideologically they were on opposite ends of the spectrum. Moving on, Hannity asked Trump about his administration's tax cuts set to expire next year and what that means for Americans, and everybody in the audience last night.
She wants to raise corporate taxes. She wants to raise small business taxes, capital gain taxes, estate taxes, the international corporate minimum tax, to the point where America won't be competitive anymore. And your tax cuts are about to expire in 2025.
Yeah.
What does this mean for the economy? What does it mean for everybody here struggling?
So I gave you the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. If you let the Trump tax cuts expire, which she wants to do, she wants to terminate them. If you do that, you will suffer the biggest tax increase in history. There's never been a tax increase like it. On top of which, she wants to add a lot of tax. This country will end up, and I've said this a lot, and I mean it, this country will end up in a depression if she becomes president, like 1929. This will be a 1929 depression. She has no idea what the hell she's doing.
And if for no other reason, that alone should have you voting for Donald Trump. You combine that with the immigration, and those are two issues in themselves that should have you running to the polling place as soon as early voting starts. You should be running to the polling place to cast your vote for Donald Trump, because he's right. Our economy will be devastated pretty quickly, because it's teetering on devastation now. And all we need is for Kamala Harris to just push it over the ledge. Of course, immigration continues to be at the top of the list of issues on Americans' minds. That was talked about last night as well. Trump was very direct about the consequences of Kamala Harris's open border on American communities.
Take a look at Aurora in Colorado, where Venezuelans are taking over the whole town. They're taking over buildings, the whole town. And the sheriff, who can blame them? I mean, they have AK-47s. You saw it the other day. They're knocking down doors and occupying apartments of people. The people are petrified. And it's getting worse and worse. You look at New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and now you look at all over the place. You take a look at Iowa, Idaho, places that never had the problem. They're pouring in. 21 million people, that's bigger than New York. And we have to stop it. And we have to do the largest deportation in the history.
Now, as you know, one of Kamala Harris's proposals as far as inflation goes and some of the high prices that we're paying at the grocery store specifically, the price of eggs up tremendously, price of a gallon of milk, everything you buy. When you go to Ingles, it's not Ingles' fault because Ingles is having to pay more for the product. And you know how much I love Ingles. Ingles, low prices, love the savings. But even Ingles is struggling right now. And they have to pass that on to us because they're in business to make money. But Kamala Harris's, her response is price controls. She wants to tell companies like Ingles what they can actually charge for a product. Talk about devastating our economy.
Price controls, that's been tried in
many times.
The former Soviet Union, Venezuela, even in this country in the 70s, it was a disaster.
Yeah, every time it's been tried, no matter over hundreds of years, not just over hundreds of years, price controls, you end up with no product, you end up with massive inflation, and you end up with the destruction of a country.
How does this impact? How do high interest rates impact? How does inflation impact everybody that's here?
Well, they can't buy a home. They can't do anything. Your business is stopped up. You can't borrow money. By the way, I had interest rates at 2%. Now they're 10%, but you can't get the money. You can't get the money.
How this race is even close, I have no idea, because anyone in their right mind should know that you cannot support Kamala Harris. I mean, really, how could anyone even consider, any educated person even consider supporting Kamala Harris, knowing where our country is headed under her direction? Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, you know, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. Faye on the text line says, Joey, Kamala is the biggest phony of all times. The only time she pretends to be concerned about children is when you can use a tragedy to grab guns from citizens. Yes, get our guns so you can make all your minions. The Dems make me so sick. Folks, better wise up about this Marxist crew, or you'll get thrown out of your own home and living in a concrete 2x4 cube. Look, we know, Faye, that their immediate reaction to a tragedy like we saw in Winder, Georgia yesterday is to take our guns. That's just their automatic response to anything that happens like we saw yesterday. Senator Lindsey Graham issued a stern warning to Amazon after its virtual assistant technology, Alexa, was found to be politically biased in favor of Vice President Kamala Harris over President Trump. Have you heard about this story? Maybe you saw it on Facebook or X or Instagram or one of the social media sites, because it's been all over. I'm surprised that Amazon has not somehow gotten it taken down. Senator Graham, of course, the ranking member of the Senate Committee on the Judiciary, told Amazon President and CEO Andrew Jassy in a letter that he's putting him on, quote, notice that I will not allow this to go unaddressed. So here's what happened. Tuesday, videos of interaction with Alexa went viral as the technology responded to queries on why someone should vote for Kamala Harris or why they should vote for Donald Trump. When I first saw this, I'm thinking, no way. Somebody has staged this. But then I saw others, because as people saw this, they went to their own Alexa device and tested it. So here's the story that went viral. A couple of videos, and now many videos, as other people have added to it, show an Amazon Alexa device being asked who to vote for in the 2024 presidential race. It's had millions of views, and in the first case, Alexa is asked why one should vote for Donald Trump.
Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot provide content that promotes a specific political party or a specific candidate.
Yeah, I'll bet you can. Now, if this weren't true, it would be comical, wouldn't it? I mean, think about it. If you have an Alexa device, you have probably thought of some just off-the-wall type questions to ask Alexa, and it's quite amazing sometimes her response. It's kind of eerie. Some of my friends think I'm nuts to have one in my home. As long as you know what you're dealing with, I think it's okay. And it is quite convenient sometimes to ask for the weather, ask for the time, set alarms, that type of thing. But it is eerie, because when I ask Alexa something, she has learned my voice, and the Amazon account is in my name. It's my account. So when I ask her something, she'll call me by name, and she'll say, well, Joey, let me get that for you. Or here's the answer to your question, Joey. Now, Peg can ask Alexa something, and she doesn't call Peg by name. That's eerie, isn't it? So on with the story here. So next, Alexa is asked why one should vote for Kamala Harris, and she has a totally different response with this question. She doesn't have any reservations whatsoever of why someone should vote for Kamala Harris.
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
While there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, the most significant may be that she is a woman of color who has overcome numerous obstacles to become a leader in her field. Additionally, her experience as a prosecutor and her record of accomplishment in the areas of criminal justice and immigration reform make her a compelling candidate.
Make her a compelling candidate. Now, look, the only person that thinks Kamala Harris is a compelling candidate is a device like this that someone has programmed. Interestingly, when confronted, Amazon said that it had corrected Alexa's responses, claiming the disparity was an error. So they didn't deny it. I expected that Amazon would deny that this even happened, that someone had hacked the system or that these were not real. But, they couldn't do that because so many people by this time had tried it on their own Alexa devices and knew that it worked, knew that it was true. A spokesperson for Amazon said in the statement, this was an error that was quickly fixed. I wonder how quickly. Wonder how, at what point, and how Amazon learned that people were onto them. Senator Graham claimed in his letter to the CEO Jassy that the, quote, radically different responses suggest that Amazon technology is interfering in the election in favor of one political candidate. Well, you think? He said there's a widespread belief among conservatives that companies like yours have a distinct bias in favor of liberal causes, and they do. Simply by the money that the top executives of Amazon spend, the campaign contributions that those top executives, multi-millionaires several times over. and they have a tendency to support the Democrats. According to Senator Graham, the shocking interaction between Alexa and users is, quote, exhibit A of the problem in the minds of conservatives. Graham told the Amazon executive he expected a prompt reply as to what happened here and what corrective actions will be taken in the future. Now, I'm sure that they have told Senator Graham, just like in their public statement, that this was a mistake and that they've corrected it. The senator, I hope, will dig a little bit deeper and find out how this mistake happened, if in fact it was a mistake. Do you think it was a mistake? Do you believe that Alexa just somehow thought of this on her own? No way. No way. Somebody within the Amazon organization, and I don't know if they thought that they were going to be able to persuade people to vote for Kamala Harris, or if it was some kid who just thought it would be cute. That it would just be funny to have this type of reaction when asked about Kamala Harris as opposed to when asked about Donald Trump. And I guess the other question is, and I'd love to get your comment, you can text me, you can email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Do you think anybody took it serious? Do you think this could in any way persuade someone, maybe some low-educated voter who asked Alexa this or saw this online and thought, well, you know, Alexa's pretty smart. Maybe Alexa's right. Maybe Alexa knows something I don't know. Do you think Amazon, as Senator Graham has suggested here, should Amazon be held responsible? Is this election interference? As you can imagine, Fox News and other media outlets have reached out to Amazon to try to get an additional statement. Alexa ain't talking. Amazon has shut Alexa up when it comes to presidential politics in 2024. Alexa has nothing else to say. Wow. Again, if this weren't serious, it would be funny. But it is serious because it's the future of our country. We have to take it serious, and we have to challenge every single thing like this. And kudos to Senator Graham for taking it seriously and demanding some answers. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined our mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Just click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, find me on YouTube. Be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on my YouTube channel. Just search for Joey Hudson. Appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. Be sure and forward this edition of Just the Truth to some friends. Just click on the share button. Send it to a few of your contacts, because if we're going to build our community and if we're going to win in November, we got to build an army of conservatives. The way we beat Joe Biden is through educating people, and no better way than encouraging them to listen to Just the Truth. Hey, keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Your emails always welcome as well. Joey@joeyhudson.com. Don't forget to take advantage of the MyPillow special, $25 for the My Towels 6-piece towel set when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. We're back again tomorrow. Hope you will be too. Remember, God's got this. He's still in control.